Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I am Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we are here for a review of a short story that is a classic, that is a good one.
I would honestly say if you are in a literature class in college, especially an intro class, you're probably going to encounter this one.
And you'd better.
You better. This is John Steinbeck, The Chrysanthemums. This is a good one.
Yeah.
This is one that is slung around often in the classroom setting. This is one that is worth talking about. And it's about time we did it.
Yeah.
So, Adrian, where do you want to start?
Well, we've got... Do you have a wrap-up for this? Or you just want to get into this?
I don't, but I could essentially put it in a nutshell for you. We have Elisa. She is basically in her garden planting chrysanthemums. She is married to a gentleman named Henry. Someone comes by to...
A tinker
comes by to fix things for Elisa. And she finds some whatnots to fix, doing good things. The tinker then leaves.
Well, she has to be talked into it.
She has to be talked into it.
She's got nothing to fix. You better move along. Oh, well, ma'am, that dog sure is going to go hungry tonight.
He sweet talks her.
Yeah.
But as he departs, there's a weird encounter between the two of them where she gets a little too close to him. He departs. She gives him some flowers to take with her, to take with him, which down the road later, as her and Henry are going out for a good old romantic dinner, because that's all they ever do that's special, she sees the flowers discarded on the side of the road. The chrysanthemums in a nutshell, from memory of a while.
Don't forget, she also pays him.
She does pay him.
And that's going to be very important.
This is an Adrian point?
This is an Adrian point.
Well,
this is in the deep dive of the literature, and this is a great point for why rereading literature is necessary.
Okay.
We'll get there when we get there.
So let's do some 3 good things, 3 bad things.
We got 3 good things, 3 bad things, quotes, literary analysis, rating, and recommendation based on the text, The Chrysanthemums by John Steinbeck. 3 good things, Dalton. Why don't you go ahead and go?
No matter what, Steinbeck will always pack a punch. He is great at this. Number 2, there are no loose ends here. Steinbeck accomplishes everything he intends to do in 7 short pages. That's a feat. And number 3, this is cut and dry realism. But there is so much more going on here. This is a snippet of a day, but there is so much going on the inside.
My number 1, you know where this is going to end.
Okay.
And nothing is going to save you. Right? This is like a great horror film. You know where this is going.
Okay.
You know this movie ends with a punch in the gut.
It's Steinbeck.
Yeah.
Every time.
Number 2, subtle.
Very subtle.
It's subtle. Number 3, this is a good beginner text. Because, and I say beginner, because beginner insinuates that you're on the path of trying to read literature. Not simply, this isn't entertaining. This isn't glitz and glam.
We've referred to this a lot of times. This is literature of the capital L.
Yes.
This is a big one.
But there are enough things going on that once someone figures out a couple things on how to wriggle the pieces out of the puzzle, you can tear the whole thing down.
Okay.
3 bad things.
3 bad things. You can glaze over this piece and miss the point. If you are just reading it as entertainment, you're just going to get the day. Number 2, if you are looking for action-packed, you've probably come to the wrong place. This is a very subtle text, as you said. And number 3, the title's pretty bland. The Chrysanthemums. It's a little off-putting. I don't know. At this point, when you're trying to say a bad thing about Steinbeck's The Chrysanthemums, you have to come up with something.
Yeah. Number 1, you know where this is going to end. You see it coming. Number 2, if you're not looking for the literature, this goes back to one of your points, sort of. If you're not looking for the literature, this sucks.
Yeah.
Number 3, very short. Now, normally I would have that as a strength. I really enjoy this writing, so I'd like to stay here a little longer. Like you said, you've got to look for something.
That's a fair statement. You do want to stay here a little longer. This is great writing. Matter of fact, the quote I chose is of no significance whatsoever. It's just gorgeous, clean writing. But I might be inclined to disagree. I think Steinbeck is flexing his chops on this.
Oh, yeah, it ends absolutely where it has to.
Yeah.
But
you just want more of it.
God damn, do
you
I want more. Yeah.
That's fair. Do you have a quote?
I've got a quote. Do you have a quote?
I have a quote. My quote is going to come actually from just the second paragraph. The first line of the second paragraph. It was a time of quiet and of waiting. The air was cold and tender. A light wind blew up from the southwest so that the farmers were mildly hopeful of good rain before long. But fog and rain do not go together. That's damn fine, clean writing. And, like, it is no real big significance. It's nothing very indicative of the piece.
Not if you don't already know the piece, but if you know the piece, sure it is.
Fair. But if you just sit down, you are just getting that, like, scene building, like what we're dealing with here. It's just words on a page.
And the greatest writing is that way.
But it's clean, man.
Yeah.
And every word in here is chosen carefully.
My quote is actually right before that. It's the first paragraph. The high gray flannel fog of winter closed off the Salinas Valley from the sky and from the rest of the world. On every side it sat like a lid on the mountains and made of the great valley a closed pot. On the broad level land floor, the gang plows bit deep and left the black earth shining like metal where the shares had cut. On the foothill ranges across the Salinas River, the yellow stubble fields seemed to be bathed in pale, cold sunshine. But there was no sunshine in the valley now in December. The thick willow scrub along the river flamed with sharp and positive yellow leaves.
If I may, before we dive any further into this, our reading is coming from Literature, a Portable Anthology, second edition, Gardner, Lawn, Riddle, and Shackle, one of the two. This is a text that we have used time and time again on the channel. This is the greatest anthology of literature we have come across.
Yeah.
Please buy this.
Yeah.
Find this, buy this. You will appreciate this. The story before the Chrysanthemums, Hills Like White Elephants. Before that, Faulkner's Barn Burning.
What's after it? A Worn Path by Eudora Welty.
This anthology is glorious. This will serve you well.
Yeah.
That's my happy plug.
Moving into the literature of things, Dalton, what do you think this is about?
There's a lot of stuff going on here. From a base level, Eliza seems to be a little seduced by the idea of a life away from Henry. Or is she wanting to prove herself? Is she wanting to prove something to herself? Or is Eliza barren and regretful she is without child?
I think it's all of those things. And I think that it's also the fact that Eliza is looking to make an individual of herself.
Okay.
This short story,
7 pages.
published in 1938. Where was feminism in 1938?
Not so much a thing.
Feminism was starting up, right? Feminism was in its first wave. Feminism was a lot of people coming to the realization that women are people.
Okay.
Elisa is Elisa.
Elisa. I will refer to her as Eliza constantly. I'm sorry.
Elisa is a person who is struggling for her independence, but she's got it to an extent. She is a person. She is an individual.
Okay.
She is an individual in a marriage, right? Being an individual in that marriage, but not having children, is something that would have been very different in the day and on a farm than it means today. Might one say that it would come with a certain amount, not just of responsibility, but a certain amount of liberty. A liberty in which one might be proud.
Okay.
An independence with that liberty.
Okay.
Is that fair?
It's fair. And Eliza is definitely proud. That's not a question. She's very proud of the flowers she grows. She's very proud of what she's
You're going to make me say Eliza again because I'm the one that knew it was Elisa.
I like Eliza, but yeah, we'll go Elisa. It is Elisa, my bad.
I think it's Elisa.
We'll go with that. She is a proud woman, though, and she's proud of her accomplishments. She's proud of these flowers. That's why she shares them with the peddler, the tinker. But I think she's wanting more, man. She is longing for more. And I think there is a lot of good symbolism of her fertilizing this earth, of her planting these seeds, of her caring and tending for these flowers, and they're just constantly disregarded.
What does the tinker fix for her?
Pans, is it?
Pots, pans.
Pots, pans.
What are pots and pans often a symbol of?
Cooking, kitchen.
They're also a symbol of feminine. They're also so the cup. They're a symbol of like the cup, the vessel.
Yeah.
What is the symbol for the woman in classic literature? The vessel.
Yes.
The woman is the vessel. So he comes along and he tinkers with her vessel. But we even get at the beginning. In that what I wrote. On every side it sat like a lid on the mountains and made of the great valley a closed pot. A closed pot. An empty closed pot. So there is, perhaps, something to be made of the fact, maybe she's not barren, maybe her husband can't have children, maybe they made the decision not to. But with the symbolism that's being pointed out here,
Okay.
we are left to, not deduce, we are left to induce that she's barren. We've also, oh, go ahead.
If I may, since we're talking about what the tinker is coming to fix, he also offered to fix something else. Yeah?
Go ahead.
He offered to fix scissors.
Yeah.
Long, piercing scissors.
Yeah.
That he knows how to sharpen because nobody else knows how to sharpen her scissors. And Eliza immediately says, no, my scissors are sharp. End of conversation. Let's talk about that pot. Just adding to the Adrianisms.
To add again to that argument, her wardrobe at the beginning of this story, she's wearing a man's hat.
Yes.
At the end, she takes a very long and deliberate time putting on her woman's hat. I'm wearing my work hat today.
Okay.
I'm wearing my golf hat today. We've got these different hats we wear. So at the beginning, she's wearing that man's hat, doing her work.
Okay.
At the end, she wants to dress up. Something has been, she raised those flowers awfully well.
She did.
And that tinker sure did think they were pretty.
He did.
And that tinker sure was going to take him down the road, wasn't he?
He was.
So she deserved, in her mind, to be the prim and proper lady of the house. She deserved in her mind, because she had done that womanly work of nurturing so well, she could dress up at the end. Now, she pays him on 210 for the work he did. You sleep right in the wagon? Elisa asked. Right in the wagon, ma'am, rain or shine, I'm as dry as a cow in there. It must be nice, she said. It must be very nice. I wish women could do such things. It ain't the right kind of life for a woman. Her upper lip raised a little, showing her teeth. How do you know? How can you tell? She said. I don't know, ma'am, he protested. Of course I don't know. Now where's your kettles? Now here's your kettles done. You don't have to buy no new ones. How much? Oh, 50 cents will do. Short story was published in 1938. Have you ever seen a 50-cent piece from 1938, Dalton?
I actually have. I am a coin person.
What does it look like?
A 58, is that a...
38.
Oh, 38. Is it a Liberty coin?
It is a walking liberty.
Walking Liberty coin. Is it the... there's two different distinct... Are we getting too far into coins?
I'm not sure. Well,
Anyway.
I just know that it's a walking...
It's a walking Liberty coin.
The Lady Liberty.
Yes.
Lady Liberty walking on her own, and it sure is a mighty pretty coin, isn't it?
Okay.
It is a coin to this day that is hailed for being so pretty, isn't it?
It is.
People still collect that coin because it's so pretty.
They do.
It's also got a very high silver content.
It does. 90%.
90% silver on a 50-cent piece, which means it's very valuable, but it shines just so nice.
Okay. Having fun with this, are you?
I'm having a lot of fun with that. That's the prettiest coin you'd ever wish to see, isn't it?
It is.
But it's a Lady Liberty.
Yes.
So it's pretty, yeah. But it's Lady Liberty on her own,
Yep.
walking straight towards you.
Yep. A lot of independence in this one here. A lot
Yeah.
of things are pushing towards
Yearning for independence.
that. I'm gonna digress a little bit. There's some what led me to the idea of her longing for a child and possibly not being able to have one is there comes a scene out of nowhere that we are given where Elisa decides she's going to place her hand on this gentleman's leg. Kneeling there, her hand went out towards his leg in the greasy black trouser. Her hesitant fingers almost touched the cloth. Then her hand dropped to the ground. She crouched low like a fawning dog. That comes out of nowhere. Out of nowhere in the text. If we're just reading verbatim, for some reason she decides she's going to reach out and touch his thigh. That is hypersexual there.
Very intimate.
Very intimate moment. This comes right after, we'll add it to your vessels conversation, we'll add it to the scissors conversation, when we're obviously throwing forward sexual references. There is something that Elisa is wanting. There is something she's yearning for, whether she wants a child or cannot have a child with Henry.
Or is it just sex?
Is it? It could be.
So we've also got the double layer there of, yes, she is raising flowers, right?
Yes.
She is nurturing those flowers.
She's nurturing them, yes.
And she's trying to set them forth into the world. But what is a flower? What is the flower part of a flower? It's the sexual part.
Okay.
The sexual part that draws the bee in to get that sticky pollen on him so that he can pollinate something else. It's the sex organ of the plant.
Okay.
It is an awful lot of evolutionary energy which must go forth to create something so brilliant as the colors present in a chrysanthemum.
Okay. Early in the novel, we get references to her age. She's 35. Further on in the story, we don't refer to her age, we refer to her as an old woman. 35 is about the time. Biological clock is ticking. Where it would be, I don't know the proper word to term this, words to put this into a reference here, but usually biological clock is ticking. 35, there's a lot more risks associated with pregnancy. 35 to old woman, we're pushing for the fact that she's never going to have children. That again alludes to the idea that she is longing for some kind of life with children. The idea that she's planting and nurturing these flowers, absolutely. She is quite literally sowing the seeds. She is fertilizing these plants. She is growing them. She is nurturing them. Yet they are going to be discarded. It's going to be something she'll never have.
What time of year does this story take place in?
December. We had a little argument about this before we started filming, but this takes place in December.
Why did we have an argument about that?
Because she's planting flowers, and I live in the Midwest, and I said, who would plant flowers in winter? That makes no sense.
We had an argument about it because you didn't know what you were talking about. But
Fair.
this takes place in winter.
Yes.
The story begins
Very barren winter.
in the winter, yeah. The story begins when the growing season is over. Okay. The story begins with the traditional end of life, right?
Yes.
The end of the cycle.
Okay. Please tell me I'm right in my analysis with this. I feel like that is what we're pushing at here.
Yeah, when did I say you were wrong, Dalton?
I don't know,
Calm
but
down.
I felt like you were just about ready to say, but Dalton, let me tell you.
You can't always predict what I'm going to say.
It is interesting. If I might know, though, 19 minutes into a review, shut your mouth, we read the same text.
Yeah.
Same edition.
Yeah.
We have both managed to come up with very different interpretations. That is why Steinbeck is great. Similar.
What different interpretations do we have?
I pulled more that she was barren, that she was longing for
Okay,
a
versus
child.
the liberty. Okay, versus the
liberty.
independence.
Absolutely
okay.
so. These are two different interpretations. Similar, yes. But that's what makes something like this great. There is so much buried within here that we could both be right. We could both be wrong. That's what makes literature great. This is a good thing.
Well, I think that your interpretation is definitely there.
Okay.
I think it's just a little incomplete.
That's fair. That leg touch, though. That leg touch is an
okay.
M. Night Shyamalan level twist.
No, it's not that bad.
Oh, yes, it is. That comes out of nowhere. Unless you are reading deep into the text and you get the symbols. If you are just reading this,
Yeah, but Dalton, she's not dead.
if you are just reading this, out of nowhere, she decides she wants to reach out and grab onto his leg.
Okay.
Anyway.
So we've got her reaching out for her independence, we'll say.
Okay.
Perhaps that independence is control of her sexuality.
Perhaps it is.
She is a bit of an androgynous character in this, isn't she? She flips back and forth between the masculine roles and the feminine roles, and the manly things and getting dirty, and
She does.
the feminine things and needing her pots fixed, and all of these things back and forth when you're just talking about classic symbology. But we end with those flowers destitute in the middle of the road.
Yes.
And she's crushed when she sees them. And then we get this exchange. Because they're going, where are they going?
Dinner.
They're going to dinner.
Because that's all they ever do.
It's all they ever do.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to go see the fights.
She's longing for more.
She doesn't want to go see he wants to go see the fights. She doesn't want to go see the fights. The fights are violent. Henry, this is after she's seen those flowers laying in the middle of the road. Those flowers upon which she had staked her entire individuality and worth. And that tinker, in order to get her to give him money, accepted the flowers so he could get the work. Right? Isn't that about how that went?
Pretty much.
Henry, she asked after seeing those flowers, could we have wine at dinner? Sure we could. Say, that will be fine. She was silent for a while. Then she said, Henry, at those prize fights, do the men hurt each other very much? Sometimes a little, not often. Why? Well, I've read how they break noses and blood runs down their chests. I've read how the fighting gloves get heavy and soggy with blood. He looked around at her. What's the matter, Elisa? I don't know. I didn't know you've read things like that. I didn't know you read things like that. He brought the car to a stop, then turned to the right over the Salinas River Bridge. Do any women ever go to these fights? She asked. Oh, sure, some. What's the matter, Elisa? Do you want to go? I didn't think you'd like it, but I'll take you if you really want to go. She relaxed limply in the seat. Oh, no. I don't want to go. I'm sure I don't. Her face was turned away from him. It will be enough if we can have wine. It will be plenty. She turned up her coat collar so that he could not see that she was crying weakly, like an old woman. It will be enough if we can have wine. It will be enough what?
Go on.
It will be enough debauchery.
Okay.
It will be enough blood. Blood is thicker than wine, right?
Okay.
Blood is thicker than water. Blood is wine. That's what the whole wine and crackers thing is about.
The wine and crackers
Yeah.
thing? Okay. Communion.
Communion. That blood is wine. That wine is blood. It'll be enough blood if we can have the wine. But I really am thinking about these men beating the hell out of each other. I really am thinking about some suffering going on.
Okay.
But if we can have the wine, it'll be enough debauchery. It'll be enough tearing down the prim and proper walls that we have built up. Having the wine alone this time.
Is just enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she's looked into this. She's looked into the fight. She's read about them. Henry didn't even know. I didn't know you read things like that.
Okay.
What does that make it sound like? Sounds almost pornographic.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It does.
I didn't know you looked at pornography, Elisa.
All right.
So it's a little bit. It's a little bit of that sexuality. It's a little bit of the independence, right? They are very heavily linked. When you think of your adult life, where do you start the timer?
Good question.
I'll tell you where I start the timer. When I was getting freaky in the back of a 95 Ford Escort in public parks.
That's when the timer hit?
Yeah. You
Okay.
want more details?
No, please. Thank you.
That's where you become an adult, is when you become sexual.
Okay.
Well, and then that's not fair. So you can be an adult before you're sexual. But when you're sexual, you're definitely an adult, right?
In most cases, yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about abuse, things like
Exceptions made.
that. But when you make the the concerted effort to go out and be sexual. That isn't a definitive adult decision.
That's good.
Because it can come with definitive adult consequences. Right?
Agreed.
So that is certainly the beginning of adulthood when it starts. Though one might be an adult before that, right? Like,
Okay.
I'm not, yeah. It's a difficult argument to make, but the things are often linked. Individuality, sexuality, adulthood, and sexual awakening.
Very fair. And again, two similar interpretations, different outcomes. Steinbeck gives you that opportunity. If you have not read this, you need to dive into this.
You owe it to your literary livelihood to read this, whether you were a writer or just a reader.
I'll give you that.
Both of those aspects of your life, this will improve.
Adrian, what would you rate The Chrysanthemums by John Steinbeck?
95 tinkers out of 100.
95.
Yourself?
I went a little bit lower. I gave it 90 minted pots. I feel this is absolute A-range, exceptional literature.
Yeah.
95 was a bit steep for me.
What'd you give it again?
90.
You gave this just an A minus.
I gave it an A minus.
Okay, man. Okay.
What would you recommend?
I would recommend, ironically, Hills Like White Elephants.
Which is on the page before
Yeah.
this if you buy this course thing. I actually recommended something a little newer, San Miguel by T.C. Boyle.
Okay, I can see
I think
that.
there's a lot of correlations there. Also a gorgeous book.
A lot of the same themes.
A lot of the same themes. However, that book's a little different of a read. It's not going to be as smooth sailing as The Chrysanthemums.
Oh yeah, it's not as smooth sailing, but it's definitely as good.
There's worth.
Yeah,
worth and
there's a lot of
quality.
stuff there.
Anyway, you want to end us out?
You end us out. You're getting better at this.
Oh, thank you. So we do this.
You're winning your individuality and your adulthood.
Thank you. 50 cents, please. So this is Strip Cover Lit. We do this every single day throughout the year of 2019.
And you know that we don't give up. It's not your birthday. It's 50 cents.
I hate you. Okay, so we do this every single day here on Strip Cover Lit, whether it be a review of a short story, of a poem, of a book. We do a Let's Read series.
We haven't done any plays.
We haven't done any plays yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, there's plays in here.
But if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below to journey along with us as we read through literature as a whole,
Death of a Salesman.
everything we can do. And leave us a comment in the sections down below letting us know what you think of our interpretations and what your interpretations are of John Steinbeck's The Chrysanthemums. See, you said I was getting better at this, and I'm so nervous now.
A Dollhouse by Henrik Ibsen. We could do that one.
No. And if you'd like to help us create more great content like this here on Strip Cover Lit, there's a link, as always, to our Patreon to be found in the description below.